Hey guys, welcome to a pro wrestling podcast with Matt and friends. I am here with the Shug, Shane Hollister. Shane, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just a little tired, but I'm good.
I'm really looking forward to this, man. Like I said, I followed your career for the last 11 years since that video was posted on YouTube. It was you and Trick Davis versus Zero Gravity, which you really caught my eye. I was like, man, this dude has a look. He can wrestle. And I tried to follow your career as best as possible. And it's safe to say you're one of the best that I have never seen get signed by WWE or TNA, and you deserve the world, man. You really do. You are ridiculously talented, and yeah, it's such an honor to be able to do this with you.
And I appreciate all those words you just said right there. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like life just kind of happened with when it comes to being signed or being noticed. It was just kind of a timing thing, man, really what it comes down to.
Well, you deserve the world, man. So question for you, and it's a question that I've always wanted to ask you. Who is the Shug? What does the Shug mean?
Okay, so this is a this is a long time story that goes back into high school, where even a now Seth Rollins, we all went to high school. We went to high school together. So like, my real name is Shane. So when it came down to like, they always called me Sugar Shane, or you know, at one point they were calling me Shug White instead of Shug Knight, which is pretty hilarious. And then it just was, and then it was just Shug. It was not Sugar or Sugar. It was just Shug, and that's how that name came about. And then it just rolled over into wrestling as well.
I love it, man. I love the story to that. That has a lot of meaning to it. It's not just something you came up with on your own. And
Oh no.
it's cool. Tell us a little bit about Shane Hollister. You've been wrestling for how long now?
Oh gosh. Well, I'll be 35 on Christmas Day. I mean, I've had breaks here and there from injuries and taking time off, but if we just added up years of me when I first started doing this stuff, um, I was in a pro wrestling ring performing in front of people untrained when I was like 16 years old. So I got trained when I was a senior in high school by Danny Daniels, and that was probably what it was. I was 18 actually as a senior in high school. So yeah, I don't know, man. Do the math, I guess. I don't know.
So about 17 years, 18 years.
Yeah, I was performing in Chicago, putting up rings for AAW when I was, 18 years old. And yeah, like if you want to just keep track of the pro wrestling part of it, that's pretty crazy actually.
That's insane. I mean, long career, man. Now, did you get your start in Call to Arms with Trick Davis, or was that something that progressed a little bit in your career?
So that was something that me and Trick were, we were good friends, good buddies, out of the Chicagoland area, which was like a second home to me, especially with AAW. So that's where me and Trick really got to know each other a lot. And from that, we were like, at one point I was coming back from a leg injury, and he was like, if you want to do a tag team, and we had already done Young Lions for Chikara at one point, we wrestled each other. So it was kind of like Trick's idea. He was like, hey man, let's do a tag team thing. And like, it ran for a while, and then, it just kind of ran its course. But that's how it kind of started, was, being in Chicago and getting to know Trick, who's an awesome person and a fantastic mind when it comes to creating, like coming up with really intricate, cool things Trick didn't get enough credit for all the cool stuff he's ever came up with for other people, even that other people have probably not ever given him credit for. But that's kind of how that happened. Was we got to know each other very well. Me and now Seth Rollins, then Tyler Black would always crash at Tricks when it got too late, or we had another show like in Chicago area. So we were like, hey man, we'll just come stay at your place. And that's kind of how that all happened. We became really good friends.
So are you guys are still cool? You guys still talk?
Yeah, I talked to Trick wasn't even that long ago, just to see how he was doing because he popped up in my timeline with I don't know, it might have been even a time that we were doing the call to arms like tag stuff. That ring you saw us in, it's funny because it was in a WCW trailer, and we actually took a picture outside of the trailer, next to the trailer. Me and him did probably that day, and I think that's what popped up on my timeline not that long ago. So yeah, I was saying something to him about that at that time.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was going through YouTube a couple weeks ago or whatever, and I seen that video that I watched years ago, and I was like, dude, this is fucking insane because this is the first indie match that I really paid attention to, and there was just something there about everything you did. I mean, the look you had, everything. You had a little bit longer of a mohawk back then, if I don't recall, but yeah, no, I mean, you wrestled in Heartland Wrestling for a little bit there. Now, Heartland, right. I know, had kind of, I thought, an association with WWE for a little bit, right?
Well, I don't know if at that time, I don't know if it actually was, but here's another thing about Heartland, which obviously I don't know, because I think it was before the tag team thing. One of the first people I actually worked with in Heartland was Ali, Mustafa Ali.
Really?
So we had a singles in Heartland, and we did some. I mean, every time I got in the ring with Ali, it was always great. So we had a pretty good stellar match at that time. I always had different stuff that people didn't do, and then he was really smart, and we were really smart at young guys, hungry at that time. Came up with some pretty intricate things that we did that nobody else was going to do on the show. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you get your hands on it anywhere or not, but at one point, man, I could have swore it might have been on YouTube, but I don't think it's on there anymore. But it was, because that was the only way I was watching it. I didn't have the match. Nobody ever gave me a DVD of it, so
yeah.
But
no, I mean, that's cool. I didn't know you
my first match.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I didn't know you wrestled for Chikara. You mentioned Chikara. I didn't know you wrestled in Chikara before.
Yeah, we did the Young Lions Cup. It was years and years ago, man. I don't know. It was probably around the same time of us doing like the call to arms, maybe a year before that or so. It was crazy. Chikara was fun. And again, who was in that road trip with me and Trick was Ali, because he was from the Chicagoland area.
Yeah.
So we all rode together. And it's funny because Ali was not a metal guy whatsoever. So he I only had a few CDs with me. I mean, we didn't have any I didn't have an auxiliary cord to hook to my phone to play anything else. So I had a few CDs with me, and the one band that he kind of liked was Seven Dust. So that album, actually, I woke up at one point and he was starting to sing it along because we had listened to it so many times on the road. So that was pretty cool. I got to know Ali pretty well on that, and then working together in Dreamwave and AAW, and just being in the Chicago area, we got to know each other pretty well.
Well, I know AAW. I remember watching it. You were a former AAW world champion, and you put on some hell of a matches with
two times.
Yeah, with Michael Elgin's Tyler Black. You lost the title once to Kevin Steen. We seen that. But you did a lot of work with AAW. Tell us about your time with that.
AEW was pretty much realistically, if I wasn't wrestling locally here in like the Quad City area, Davenport, Bettendorf, Moline, Rock Island area, kind of like the Iowa and Illinois border, like they combined, like all the Quad Cities or whatever. So outside of here, Chicago was like my second home since I was like 18 years old. So AAW, I started from the same way you got to pay dues. I got trained by the guy who's running the company. I put up the ring, tore down the ring for a long time. And then I just built myself up the card. And I have actually won every male single title for the company. I was one of the first Grand Slam champions they had. So I started as tag champion, then a heritage champion, and then, the heavyweight champion. It was, I miss it, honestly. I mean, it was a great time, and I always had just the best opportunities there because Danny believed in me and my work. So he knew if he could put me in the ring with anybody, I could have a good match. I mean, like the names go on. Like I wrestled Chris Sabin, I wrestled, Davey Richards, like I had wrestled Alex Shelley there, like the names just, Kevin Steen, obviously, and then Jimmy Jacobs, like just the names go on. Silas Young, like I could just keep going, man. Like, I had a lot of, Spanky actually at one point. I always forget this one because everyone's like, dude, you wrestled Spanky. I was like, oh man, sometimes that slips my mind. And I was like, yeah, I wrestled Spanky in AAW, so it was pretty.
Well, it's crazy
rad.
that some people don't even know who Spanky is, but Spanky is Brian Kendrick. And it's crazy because people mention Spanky and they're like, who the hell is that? And if you watch earlier 2000s, he wrestled in WWE as Spanky.
He did.
But I want. What's up?
Go ahead.
No, I want to say, man, like, you've had an illustrious career. I mean, in the independence alone, I mean, you've wrestled top-notch names. I watched your matches with Tyler Black and Kevin Steen and Michael Elgin and all these guys, and incredible, man. You hang out with the best of them. And, it's like I said, I mean, it's truly an honor to have you here. Really, honestly.
I appreciate that, man. I got it up here still. There are times that like I miss AEW a lot, and there are times where I'm like I'm like, man, maybe I should just give it another go. Like because right now it's only locally. Because with life, I had my son and I got married, and like a lot of things just happened progressively, kind of at the same time. So it was like a big, it was one of those things where like either I'm going to go all in or I need to slow down and do something. Just do something to, make a living and make a good living. So I had to come up with a backup plan that was more of like, a career. So like, I love wrestling, always will. And then when I started my career that I am now in as a plumber, I did it right before my son was born. And at the same time, I was still training students for the first two classes of Black and the Brave Wrestling Academy. I was still one of the trainers there. So, and I probably missed that more than, I don't know, maybe before performing in front of like tons of people. Because I take a lot of pride in what happens with my students. Right. So I don't know. That's one of those things that like I know at this point it's like if I put my head down and fucking went back to the gym and was like, all right, let's do this again. I could probably do it, but it's something that's very tough with the way life is going right now. And it's possible. I can't say it's not possible because everything's possible. If you put your mind to it, you can do it. And I say that to the students coming in because I get to work with all the new students, and that's my favorite part of being a part of the local company SCW is I get to work with all the kids coming out of the Black and the Brave Wrestling Academy. Is I'm like they're like I always call myself like the finishing school because it's like they're gonna take their students and put them in the ring with me, and then it's but that's I take pride in that as well because I feel like I'm not a part of the school, but in a way I still get to teach the students when they're coming in.
Oh no, absolutely, man. And you know what? I think a lot of people, I mean, that have followed your career would love to see you back in an AAW ring, especially AAW. You've, like I said, put on a hell of matches there. And I personally have never been in an AAW show, but I've watched your matches. And I think that would be something I would love to see. I would love to see you perform live. I'm from Northwest Indiana, but it's close to Chicago enough. So obviously it's a little farther from Iowa. You're still in Iowa, right?
Yeah, well, Chicago's only like 3 hours away, so it's not that bad.
I would love to come see you somehow.
Right. Like, I mean, even Danny hit me up not that long ago. Danny Daniels, who runs AAW, hit me up not that long ago and asked me because he was sent a match with me and Dante Leone, who's fantastic wrestler coming out of the Brave. I don't know. He's probably like 2 or 3 years in, and he's great. And his ideas are so awesome. And I've been working for the local company, and then like this whole thing we've been doing like a Patreon. So we're wrestling in front of no one, which gets like, oh man, I have no adrenaline rush for the most part. Coming through a curtain to basically wrestle in front of and like some guys doing commentary. So it's tough, but the match was sent to Danny and he liked it a lot. And he was like, well, are you just doing it to do it? And I was like, well, I still love wrestling. It's just, it really sucks to wrestle in front of no one physically there. Like it's just tough to get into. Yeah. So that's basically what I said to him. And I was like, hey, and then I told him, I was like, you need to put Dante on your shows because he's fantastic. So he reminded me a lot of me when I was younger, except he could do way cooler stuff than I ever could when it comes to like acrobatics or whatever. So like I was never a flippy guy, realistically.
Right. No, I mean, but hey, man, you performed with the best. So, did you get a hand in training Ben Carter?
Oh yeah, I've been on one. I didn't get a chance to really train him, but I showed Ben a lot of stuff. Like before shows, I would show Ben a ton of things, and like he always looked up to me. We never got a chance to really work together, but we had that common, like like he knew about me. He knew my work or whatever, and like there was respect there. And I saw a lot of potential in him way early. Like, cause I was just like, this guy's if he keeps his head down or chin up and focuses, he's going to go far. And I'm not surprised. Realistically, when he got signed, I was not surprised because that's the one and only thing he's ever aimed for. Yeah. It's real easy to go off track and chase. It's real easy to chase the wrong things. And I've always told the students, I was like, hey, take me for an example of somebody who could have kept their eye on the ball. And I took it off plenty of times that I didn't need to, and I shouldn't have. And I take pride in showing students that what could have been if I would have done what I should have done. But at this point, I am proud to be a father. I love my son, and I wouldn't change that for the world.
Absolutely.
But I do wish that I would have just put my head down and just focused on wrestling. My head, sometimes it goes so. And I tell the students all the time, take it from me for somebody who could have made it and learn from my mistakes before you make them yourself. So I tell them that all the time as well.
Absolutely. And then I know for a little bit you actually teamed with Merrick Brave on the independents a little bit. Tell us about that.
Yes. Um, Me and Merrick go way back, obviously. I mean, we were all kids when we started this stuff. Because the local company SCW started on a bunch of guys who knew how to take bumps and to do certain things. But we didn't know, all of the aspects of pro wrestling. So Merrick was one of those guys, along with Tyler Black, Seth Rollins. We were all in the same area, and at one point, obviously they went and trained with Danny, and then I was the second class for Danny. So me and Merrick went way back, always been friends for a long time. He had an injury and took a very long break from wrestling. And when he came back, he just wanted to do some tag stuff, which I was totally fine with doing tag stuff. So I don't know, we did some stuff in 3XW. I can't remember where else we tagged, but we were tagging quite a bit. Not quite a bit, but we were tagging enough. And it was one of those things where it's like we know what each other are gonna do in a way.
Yeah.
So it kind of just worked. We know each other enough that it just worked.
Oh, absolutely. Nah, I get that, man. And it's cool that you know these guys and you grew up with them and you know, got to do this with Black and Brave and help training. I've heard a lot of good things about their school. So I mean, I'm really impressed that you got to be a part of that a little bit too. Now a lot of people I don't think know unless they really focus on AAW. You were actually managed by Scarlett Bordeaux. How was that?
Yeah.
Was that pretty cool?
So, all right, here's a cool story that she told me when she first got in. She came to probably one of my first main events, or my second main event ever. I think my first main event was a tag team ladder match, but maybe my first or second. So it was my first singles main event. Was a Stairway to Hell match with Eric Cannon, where there was a lot of blood and like just a lot of stuff going on. And if you go back and watch it, there is a very young Scarlett Bordeaux in front row, and she told me that match was the match that made her want to be a part of pro wrestling. So, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so when she first broke in, like one of the first people that they just put her with naturally was me. So like even as a baby face or good guy, she managed me plenty of times before I did my full-blown heel turn or whatever you want to call it, bad guy. She had came back with a whole new look. So they were like, well, just let's flip the script here and full-blown heel. And like that whole run that we had with Marcus and Dan Lawrence and AAW, if anybody can get their hands on any of that stuff, it was awesome. I had some of my best matches when that was happening, with obviously what ended up becoming my AAW run as well as champion. And no, I wouldn't take back any of those things. She learned a lot from working with me and the other guys that I was working with. So I was also, when she told me all she wanted to do was get signed. And here's another thing is, I don't know if anybody can find this. Me and her were extras for WWE at one point where what's his name? Wade Barrett and Randy Orton were fighting in the back, and one of the guys come running out of an elevator was me.
Oh, no shit. I didn't ever see that. That's cool.
And they're fighting in the elevator, and the elevator goes up, and they come out of the elevator, and it's one of the girl who screams is Scarlett. So like it's pretty wild, like I haven't spoken to her in a long time, because wrestling just, when you kind of take a step back, like people kind of take off. And but I was always proud of her. I always looked at her more like a little sister than anybody. Always was like, hey, you and Scarlett are saying, like, no, dude, what? No, she's like my little sister in the business. And that's really what it was too. Like I was always, trying to look out for her, and like even like my CZW run there for a while when I first came in, she was my valet or manager for 3 matches before whatever, I don't know, whatever happened there. But yeah, it was one of those things that even when I did National Pro Wrestling Day, I got to work with Tuco Scorpio, and she was there with me, and we did a long road trip from out of Chicago. So that was, yeah, we had a lot of time on the road together, like a ton. And I honestly was not surprised with her conviction of how when she wants something, she's going to get it, that she got signed. And, it didn't surprise me. And it's cool that she got signed and is with the guy she's engaged to. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And so, I'm nothing but proud of her and very happy for her. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really impressed with what she's doing. I wish Impact would have used her better when she was there. I think with her pairing with Karrion on NXT is fantastic. And I hope the future holds great things for both of them because they're both very talented individuals. So that's really a cool backstory.
They're both very, very smart people in real life. Like they're both very smart. So I think, and the fact that she is talented in other things besides wrestling, like she can sing, like that's really her singing. Like that's not a gimmick. She really sang the entrance song. So that's awesome to me.
Because a lot of people,
that's really her.
A lot of people used to, going around when they debuted, they're like, yeah, she's lip singing this entrance. I didn't know that was her.
No, it's real. Like, well, she's probably lip syncing the entrance part, but that's her vocals on the song.
Oh, I don't think anybody knows that. I think this is the first time I've ever heard that.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I know she can actually sing, so I'm thinking if WWE owns the rights to music, why not have her do it like Sherry did for Sean? When he first started. So his singles run. So I really think that it's her vocals on the song. I'm pretty sure it is too. Yeah, she was always a talented singer. So
she's talented at everything she does, man. It's incredible. And it's cool that you were a big part of her start. Honestly, I mean,
I take pride in that as well.
I bet. So I was going through Cage Match yesterday. And I was looking through your matches and stuff, and I noticed there was a big gap between 2016 and 2019. That there was really nothing shown. Did you stop wrestling for 3 years?
No. It was just a lot of not as big, bigger companies. So it was like working a lot of smaller companies. There was a break for a while. I mean, at one point I had fractured my ankle probably around that time as well. My right ankle I fractured. There was a break for a while. But again, it was only me working for smaller companies. And then I started working for AAW again and tagging with Marcus Crane. So that's probably like the big gap that everybody's seeing. But like, it wasn't like, if there was a gap, it wasn't as long as it seems at that time. The longest I really walked away was I really thought I was just done and I was going to retire. Was, I don't know, some years back now. I actually had a match and was with Merrick and was ready to be done. And I only stayed away from the ring for a year and a half. So that's how long that lasted. So, but that was mostly because like the kid and stuff. And then he was old enough to know that, that I could do it and he wasn't going to be scared or whatever. Yeah. So I started doing it again. But I only do it locally. I haven't done it much outside of local. I think I did I worked for Joey Grunge's company and got to work with Chase Stevens. And that's where I got to hang out with Tracy Smothers, rest in peace, a lot. Got to know Tracy even more. Genuine human being. Wrestling lost a good one with him for sure.
Yeah.
So
you said
there was
RIP. I mean, rest in peace, Tracy. I mean, he was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Awesome, dude. Not just wise, but like outside of the ring. He's a great person.
Chase Stevens, though, I mean, that's pretty cool. I was always a fan of the Naturals, so watching Chase Stevens and you getting a chance to be in the ring and hang with him, I mean, that's awesome too. Chase Stevens is an incredible athlete.
Oh yeah, he's still got it. He's still got it, man. I mean, when he wants to go, he can go. So
I bet, cool. Man. Now, has your son really gotten a chance to sit there and watch you wrestle?
Yeah, I mean, he's actually come to some shows, and like sometimes he still gets alarmed that I'm hurt, but he's gotten older now, so he knows that it's not, not as extreme. So I've never really forced wrestling upon him. If he wants to watch it, we'll watch it. He does like to watch whatever I have on YouTube, which is the majority of my matches I'm losing, so that's cool. So, but yeah, like he enjoys it when he does watch it, but I don't go out of my way to, when I have him, I don't go out of my way to like, hey, let's watch Raw or SmackDown or AEW. Like, funny thing is, I barely watch. To be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of wrestling as much as I used to. I'll watch like matches that everybody's talking about, but I don't go and watch I can't sit down and watch a full wrestling show realistically to me anymore. Like maybe local or live, I could, but trying to sit down and watch a whole thing on TV is kind of just can't do it. I don't know why. I just can't.
It's hard sometimes, man. Life gets in the way and you're a busy person, so I 100% get it. I got two more questions here for you, Shane. Okay. Growing up, who was your favorite pro wrestler all time?
Of all time, this has always been the answer. It's always been Shawn Michaels. Always has.
Same for me. Absolutely.
Always. I don't think anybody to this day. I mean, there are guys out there who are getting close. I mean, one of them is my friend. So there are guys who can go out there who are just so damn good. They're just so good. And like, they've always, I mean, I don't know. Shawn has just been one of those people who, I don't know, man. Like he's done it all, and he's been in the ring with everyone. And like, how many times can you say it was a bad Shawn Michaels match? Doesn't matter if it was WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Raw. It doesn't matter what he was wrestling on. He had probably the best match on the show. So that's why Shawn Michaels was always one of my favorites. Is my favorite.
So funny story about Shawn. Back in 2003, I was the year Brock Lesnar won the Royal Rumble. I think, I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, but this is when I really started getting into wrestling. I watched that match and I thought Shawn Michaels and Rob Van Dam were the same person. I don't know why, but I did. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, I was just a kid and I seen this guy come out with a little bit of a ponytail and I'm like, dude, did he just go back and change outfits? Like, I was like, that's so weird to me. But Van Dam became my second favorite wrestler of all time after that. So Shawn and RVD have always been my top two favorite professional wrestlers of all time. And I talk about this all the time, though. Kurt Angle, in my opinion, by far is the best all-around professional wrestler. I think nothing can touch a candle.
It sucks.
What were you saying?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, though. It sucks that he didn't have as much time as like a person like Shawn.
Yeah.
Like if he had the longevity that Shawn had in the business, oh man. But Kurt Angle is fantastic as a performer or pro wrestler. You bar none, a lot of guys can't hold the candle to Kurt Angle.
Oh, I tell people it's crazy because Kurt Angle is, like I said, all around one of the best professional wrestlers. Alex Shelley is actually one of those guys that can touch a candle to him almost. He learned his craft everywhere. And I know you mentioned that you got to be in the ring with Alex Shelley. Did you ever get to pick his brain at all?
Oh yeah. Me and Shelley got to work with each other multiple times. I would consider him a friend. One time we were getting ready to have a singles match in AAW, and he Facebook messaged me and was like wanting to talk about ideas, and I'm like, mind you, I not many people know this, that on the independent scene or independent level, besides like, Shawn Michaels being like my all-time favorite, when it came to anybody on the independent level or TNA, I thought nobody could touch Alex Shelley. So Alex Shelley was one of my favorites, and I had done, I basically stole all of his stuff that he would ever do. So when I got to work with him, it was awesome because like everyone knew that I was a huge Shelley mark, and I had loved all of his work and always have. So getting to work with him was awesome. And I got to see him not that long ago. We did a big show. It was before all this crap with the pandemic happened. We had a big show locally over in Moline and wrestled in front of a lot of people. And Alex Shelley got to work with one of the students who's really good also, Travis Titan. Super good. Like, more people should pay attention to him as well. So Shelley worked with Travis, and I was just stoked that Shelley was there. So I went down the night before because he was going to do a seminar for the students, and he walked up and gave me a hug and asked me how I was doing. So I always thought that was really cool because you meet guys that are acquaintances or whatever, but then you meet people who genuinely are awesome and like will come up and like hug you. Like,
yeah,
I never would have thought. I would have never thought when I was 17 years old, I used to go to IWA shows and watch him beat the shit out of Jimmy Jacobs. I never would have thought that Alex Shelley was going to be somebody that was like a friend. Like, yeah. It's crazy.
Well, it's just funny because at a Black Label Pro wrestling event last January, right before the pandemic, he was there. And this is right around the time he had the match at NXT and everything. And the bathroom there was one at a time. And I was next to use the bathroom, and out comes Alex Shelley. And I'm like, yo, dude, blows my mind because the Motor City Machine Guns are my second favorite tag team of all time.
Dude, so good.
Chris Sabin and Paul London are tied for my number 3 favorite wrestler of all time. And like I said, Alex Shelley, one of the best all-around pro wrestlers of all fucking time.
Oh yeah.
And it's crazy, but I met him, and he's like, yeah, unfortunately I charged $10 a picture, and I'm like, dude, that's fine. And I whipped out $10 and I took a picture with him, and I talked to him, man, and it was cool. Alex Shelley, one of the best, man, always. And I know you said you took a lot of his move sets and stuff, like you followed his career a lot, and I noticed that one of your finishers happens to be God's Last Gift of Tyler Black, which you renamed Shug's Last Gift.
And here's a story about that. I think it's online, but the first person to ever take that move, who helped him come up with it, by the way, was me.
No shit.
It's on video, I think online. If you find it, I was probably like, dude, soaking wet, 160 pounds. Like, I was like, dude, he just wanted to do like a fisherman buster and then put him in the small package after that. And I was like, dude, why don't you grab it before you jump? And he goes, yeah, let's do that. So I was the first one to ever take that on camera, and it was locally. And then he just ran with that move. And like so many people had stolen it and tried to say it was their own. No, that was Tyler Black's and Shane Hollister's baby. I helped him. He came up with the concept, and then I was like, hook the leg first, then jump and do it. So that move was I helped come up with that move. And it's funny because it's in video games and stuff now too. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. I didn't know that story. That's fucking cool. That's incredible, dude. That really is. So my final question for you is, what's next for Shane Hollister? At least in 2020. What does 2021 hold for Shane Hollister?
Well, to be honest with you, we're finally going to start doing shows locally in front of people again. And it all depends on if I catch the buzz or not. But realistically, I got a friend who him and Seth all grew up together. He could have been a wrestler too. He's 6'4", could have been a wrestler. His passion was music. So my second passion has always been actually, and in becoming a little bit more of my first passion is music. So we are coming up with, it's funny because the band's called the Shug Project. So that's hilarious. But we have some stuff. It's very like, so take, it's hard to describe. So take like Steel Panther, like joking lyrics kind of over the top, and then add way more aggressive metal over the top of it that doesn't sound 80s at all. It sounds way more, it's like kind of we've been doing it for years too. And like I've laid down some vocals not even that long ago, but I've been wanting to go over there, and it's just life. I want to go over there and lay down some more vocal, and right now it's like, I love wrestling and I love working with the students when they first come in, and like, that's my thing. And I take pride in that. I just don't know. Like, it all depends on when I get in front of people again. If I get that bug and I'm like, man, I miss this. This is what I want to do. That it might happen. Like, and it's not like I don't know people, and there's so many guys that like I've worked with that are now signed, have contracts, and making great money and being on TV and doing what they love. So it all depends on how I feel. Like, if I want to go again, then I'll go again. If I don't, then I'm probably going to focus more on music, and I'd still just do locally and get to work with the students when they first come in, and then take pride when they finally get signed. So
that works, man. No, that's so cool. It's ironic because your favorite wrestler, Shawn Michaels, you do music, you do pro wrestling. I tried out for pro wrestling once. I did music. Shawn Michaels is my favorite pro wrestler of all time. So it's kind of fun to have that interaction there. But yeah, absolutely, man. I wish for the best for you, whatever you decide to do in 2021 and going forward. Honestly, Shane, this has been one of the best moments, at least in my entire life. Getting a chance to talk to you, man. Such an honor, such a privilege, literally. Like I said, totally fun. I really enjoyed this moment, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. I hope one day, maybe down the road, we could meet face to face, watch you wrestle live, and get a chance to do this again, man, because I would love to do it again.
For sure. Oh, yeah, anytime.
Shane, thank you so much. Guys, this has been a pro wrestling podcast with Matt and friends. Shane, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.